Welcome back to the channel, welcome back to another video. If you don't have Haaland in your team and you don't have an easy way to get him, then I don't mind playing the free hit chip this week. So this is what a free hit draft would look like for game week 6. Okay, before we get into the actual team, I've got the projections for game week 6 on screen now. Because a free hit is just a 1 week chip, a 1 week sample, obviously you play the free hit chip, you get to change your whole team for 1 week, and then you get your old team back in game week 7. We want to look at what fixtures are best to target in game week 6. So I've got the projected goals and the projected clean sheets on screen here from Solio Analytics. I've left the stuff for them on screen. Fantastic. They do great work. Now, it's quite clear, as you can see on screen, the team to target this week is Man City. 50% chance of a clean sheet and 2.85 projected goals. Clear favourites in both here. So we'll definitely want triple Man City. Now, when we're choosing triple Man City, we're obviously going to go Haaland. We don't need to worry about that. It's then who you choose as the others. So let's look into a team here. And I've gone for Haaland, Reinders and Foden. Now, because this is a free hit, you can take a couple more risks than you would if it was just your team. You would transfer someone in for more than 1 week. Because you're only looking at 1 week in a vacuum, you don't need to worry about long-term expected minutes, which is why I like Phil Foden. Long-term expected minutes might not be the best for him, but in a 1 week vacuum, he's absolutely fantastic. And City are projected to score the most goals by far in this game week. So if you can triple up on their attack, and these are probably the 3 best attackers. Doku is probably an option as well, or Bernardo Silva, but I like these 3 the best. Obviously, you're going to go Haaland, he'll be the captain. Reinders seems like a bit of a no-brainer at the moment. He's playing so advanced. He obviously got an assist the other day against Arsenal, and he got a goal and an assist in game week 1 against Wolves. He's doing everything right. Foden as well. Since he's come back, he's got a goal and an assist against Napoli and Man United. He did get taken off a little bit early against Arsenal, but I'm not sure that's anything to worry about at this stage. So this is the triple up that I would go for from Man City. Now, if we go back to the projections here, the next best team here for expected goals or projected goals is Spurs. Spurs play Wolves at home, and they're also the joint next best clean sheet odds with 40%. Forest and Spurs are both 40%. Spurs have 2.1 projected goals. So I would probably want to triple up on Spurs here as well. We know that Wolves really haven't been the best defensively or offensively, to be honest. So going back to the team, and I've got triple Spurs in here as well. I've got Porro, I've got Romero now. I've gone for Romero over Van der Ven. One, he's more of a threat from set pieces. The set pieces all look like they're aimed towards him, to be honest. He also looks a lot better for defensive contributions. So I'm not expecting Spurs to get loads of defensive contributions in this game. But given that, as you can see at the top left, 4.5 million in the bank with this draft. So I don't need to go for Van der Ven over Romero because of funds. I might as well just go for Romero. Porro, I do still think is a really good option. A lot of people are selling Porro this week. He hasn't been the attacking threat that we thought he would be or that he's previously been. For example, last season, the season before. He still is a fantastic option. He's on some set pieces. Xavi Simons has now taken over quite a few of them, but he is still on some. And the double defence just look good considering the Wolves attack isn't the best. Then I do have Xavi Simons now. It's a bit of a toss-up here. This could be Kudus or it could be Xavi Simons. I kind of prefer Xavi Simons given the fact that he was benched last week. Now, long-term minutes, that's maybe not great for, but short-term, this 1 game week, he's kind of had his rest now, meaning that he will most likely start in this game and get good minutes. So I think that he's a really good option. He looked good in his first Premier League start against West Ham. He took some set pieces as well, like I say. So I think that he is a really nice option, and this is probably the triple up I'd go with, but you could go for Kudus over Xavi Simons. Now, if we go back to the projections, if we're talking clean sheets again here, so Nottingham Forest and Everton are pretty close there with 40% and 38%. I personally, on free hit, like to do as many triple ups as possible. At the moment, this sounds weird, but I trust Everton over Nottingham Forest. The percentages are really close there. 40%, 38%. Everton have got West Ham at home. Nottingham Forest have got Sunderland at home. So not only do I trust Everton a bit more than Forest, I also think that Sunderland are a little bit better than West Ham right now. So I am leaning towards going with Everton over Forest. Now, you could obviously have players from both. There's nothing wrong with that. I've decided to just go all out on Everton here. So Ndiaye is the first player in here. I mean, any of that front three or the three behind the forward, Grealish, Ndiaye and Dewsbury Hall, they're all fantastic. You could go for any one of them three. You could go for two of them three, to be honest. You could go for Grealish and Ndiaye in here. That wouldn't be a bad shout at all. I have gone for Ndiaye just because he is on penalties. That is pretty much the only reason here. He could have quite a terrible game. Everton in general could have a terrible game. It wouldn't surprise me. But he could randomly pick up a lucky penalty. That's the reason I've gone him. But this could, like I say, be any of those Everton midfielders. I've got Tarkowski in here. He's one of two players this season to hit the defensive contribution threshold in every single game. Him and Senesi. So Tarkowski just makes sense to be in this team. It's a great fixture and he should have a floor of 4 points, given that it's 2 points for an appearance and 2 points for defensive contributions. So I like him in here. Then I've got Pickford. Obviously this could be Sells. You can basically choose any goalkeeper here. I just like the idea of tripling up. When I use a free hit chip, I kind of like going with the maximum risk. So you can hedge your bets and go for a Sells and a Tarkowski. I would much prefer to go all out on one team. So they're the Everton guys. It gets a little bit murky after that. I mean, Aston Villa is the next best clean sheet odds. I really don't fancy going with any of their defenders, and our defence is kind of full up anyway. So next we go on to another attacker, and after Man City and Spurs, it's Chelsea. So Cole Palmer would potentially be an option here. However, he doesn't seem like he's going to be fit. I mean, he might be fit to play, but probably not 90 minutes. Probably not to his normal self. We'll leave the Chelsea. The other fixture that I do like is Bournemouth's fixture. Now, weirdly, they are quite low on here. So you can see projected goals, 1.45, they're in 10th. And projected clean sheets, they're in 9th. But it's Leeds away. I don't think the Leeds defence is particularly good. I presume they're this low because it's an away fixture. However, I really love Bournemouth at the moment. So I've chucked a couple of Bournemouth players in here. I've got Semenyo in here, of course. Now, like I say, this is where you could move things around. If you didn't want Semenyo, you probably do, but if you didn't want Semenyo, you could go double Everton attack, then choose a different goalkeeper instead of Pickford. That's not a bad option at all. I've also got Senesi. He's currently on the bench though, just because I don't actually have anywhere to fit him in this team. You could, if you wanted to hedge a little bit again, you could play him over Tarkowski or one of the Spurs defenders. Completely up to you. But obviously Semenyo's absolutely cooked this season. Just shooting on sight, so many big chances. Senesi, again, as I mentioned, is a defensive contribution monster. He is the other player who's hit the defensive contribution threshold in every single game. So if you wanted to play him in this game, absolutely fine. I love him as an option. Now, then you've only got one slot left. It's either a defender or a forward because we've got 5 mids. So you could actually play Senesi and Tarkowski and just play a 4-5-1. I've just gone down to the next best goals option. So you've got Man City, you've got Spurs, then you've got Chelsea. Chelsea have obviously got a fantastic striker in João Pedro. Like I say, you could just play Senesi and do 4-5-1. I actually kind of like that, given that all the defenders are really, really good. These are just some options you can do. Now, besides that, I've obviously just got a cheap bench. I've got Dubravka, Margui and Esteve. Don't actually need to go cheap in the bench. There's 4.5 million in the bank. So you can actually pick whoever you want on the bench. A couple of players that didn't make this team that I do quite like. One is Bruno Fernandes. Now, we saw we saw Man United in these projections here. So you can see there, 1.65 expected goals or projected goals. That is actually better than Bournemouth. You could go for Bruno Fernandes instead of Semenyo if you wanted. That would be an option here because you've got the money in the bank to move Semenyo up to Bruno Fernandes. That's definitely an option, of course. And then in any projections that you see, Arsenal will be somewhere here, and Arsenal are 9th there for projected goals. Earlier on this week, we've seen that Madueke picked up an injury in that game. That's why he came off at half-time for Saka, and Saka is obviously back. So what you could do here is you've even got enough money to just do Semenyo or Ndiaye actually, just up to Saka straight away. You could chuck Saka in. I mean, he would be quite a differential because not many people would just have him in their normal teams at this point. So the fixture isn't the best. It's Newcastle. And Newcastle defensively have been quite good this season. You don't have to do that. Going back to the projections again, what we see here is the only players, or the only teams, that I haven't looked at from the goal section is Liverpool, Nottingham Forest and Aston Villa. Aston Villa, I think you can guess why I haven't looked at them, because why would I? They're just horrific right now. Again, clean sheet wise, they're up there, but I'm not choosing them. Now, Liverpool, you could actually go for a Liverpool player here. With the forwards, besides Salah, I'm not really sure who you pick, because minutes-wise, Ekitike, Gakpo, Wirtz, Isak could all get minutes, could all start. It's very difficult to pick a player that's actually going to start in that game and get really good minutes. I'd rather just go without any of them. Like I say, you could go Salah, that is an option. You could also go someone like Van Dijk. I just think there's actually better options for this week. So that is why I haven't gone for any of those players. Going back to the team, this is where I land. It's up to you if you wanted to change some of these guys around. I quite like this team. If you've got any questions on it, if you've got any questions on your team, if you're not free hitting or anything, then drop them in the comments. But that is all for this one. If you liked the video, do hit like, do subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.